Hey everyone, welcome to Live Breathe Film. I am Murph. You're here with Corey, Doug, and JP. So we're going to get right into things today and kind of retcon our entire last podcast where we talked about the summer movie preview. Since by the time, a few days after we recorded it, Warner Brothers decided to take a shit on everything we did, and they torpedoed the summer movie schedule, changed ton of release dates of theirs, which affected the entire calendar for 2020. But we're going to start specifically with their changes because every movie that was involved was an A-list mega blockbuster coming out in over the next 10 months.
Summer's been canceled.
Summer 2020 is canceled. But here we go. First up, well, I guess I'll run through all of them real quick. So we have Tenet, not too big a deal, only pushed back 2 weeks. In its stead is a 10th anniversary re-release of Inception. So Nolan is kicking off the summer no matter what. He will make sure that we die seeing one of his movies. Wonder Woman is getting pushed back from mid-August to early October, which, if you've been listening, we've said that early October spot was a good one. It's one that Warner Brothers has had a ton of success of in the past, just as recently as last year with Joker. Godzilla versus King Kong, the final crossover event between those two monsters, is getting pushed from November to May, late May, like Memorial Day weekend of 2021. The Matrix 4 is getting pushed from that release date all the way to April of 2022. And as of now, Dune is staying put in its December release date right before Christmas, December 18th, I believe. So let's talk about these movies. Our thoughts about the release dates, if we think any of them are positive or negative moves for them. I mean, obviously, we would have preferred that they all came out earlier rather than later, but it is what it is. But you guys going to see the Inception 10th anniversary?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll definitely go see it. I mean, I like that movie a lot, and I watched it recently, and I still thought it held up really well. So I mean, I would definitely like to see it again in theaters, especially in IMAX. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm planning on probably seeing Inception again when it's back in theaters. I saw it probably 4 times when it came out. The first time it was released, 1 in IMAX and then 3, I think, in regular theaters. So I'd love to see it in IMAX again. I think it's a great movie. It's one that is really enjoyable in movie theaters. So I'll probably take advantage of this and try to check it out.
Yeah, I mean,
You're not a big Inception guy, right?
yeah, it's a good movie. I feel like people hype it up a lot more than it really deserves. But I mean, like in terms of it being like a big drive to get me to go to the movie theater, I remember seeing it in the movie theater. I remember seeing it in the movie theater multiple times. So it's not really something I'm like dying to go back and see in theaters. I'd rather see something new, or something that I was, too young to see at the time. Like when they release old movies, Inception just doesn't like get me ready to jump in the car and go to the movie theater. But I'm sure it'll make a bunch of money, and it's a win-win situation for the studio.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I didn't even think about it, but that is a very, very smart move on Warner Brothers' end. Because with Tenet, they were probably being pressured by a lot of different parties. One being Christopher Nolan. Yeah. That the movie needs to come out in the summer, needs to come out in July. I assume. So they probably said to him, "We'll re-release one of your older films before." And then, follow it up with Tenet. And I just think that's a smart move. But Warner Brothers for the past couple years has been, their release calendar has been, on point with their films.
It's
Joker.
dipping your toes in the water.
I mean, Warner Brothers
Exactly.
Warner Brothers owns that third weekend in July, and has since probably I guess Dark Knight. It's been like the Nolan release date, or like a Harry Potter, or I don't know.
I feel like if you look back at a lot of,
if you look at pretty much every summer since 2008, they've had a movie in that slot.
Yeah, but I feel like their release schedule in general, like they really figure out ways to place movies really well.
Succeed. And one of them is mid July, and one of them is early October. So that's what they're doing basically with Nolan this year, and then with Wonder Woman in October. But do you think Mulan's going to get pushed, or do you think Tenet will be the first big movie of the summer? Because I kind of expected Mulan to already jump to like mid-August.
So what's the date for Mulan's current release?
A week before Tenet.
Oh wow!
I feel like if you're gonna go all in, like put it out the week before and see what you can get out of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I feel like, with the week showing that they're putting up in the summer, like everything getting moved out, I feel like Tenet is just probably going to reign for a while, and probably throughout most of the summer, and release something like that. Probably not.
No, and you're right about that. But I mean, like, and if there's only 2 movies opening, really only 2 that matter this summer, like, it doesn't matter if they came out the same day. They can run the entire summer. They have the table all for themselves for essentially like 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a statement. You say we're going full bore. We have all this confidence in this movie. It's coming out a week before Tenet. Go see it.
Yeah,
and then it either dive bombs into oblivion because it's bad, and word of mouth gets around, or people go and see it because there's nothing else to see. But,
yeah,
it's also. Oh, sorry.
No. I was just gonna say like that. I agree definitely. Like I feel like at this point, especially if you're going to gamble with a release, I feel like now's the time. Because July and August right now, like it's, you don't really know how the moviegoers are going to react at this point. And I think with a film like Mulan, I think people will go see it. I think it'll attract people for sure. More so than
it's a different audience.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I was going to say.
In camp or something like that. They can't go to camp.
Exactly.
I don't
think
Nolan junkies are fucking itching for Mulan fix.
No.
Yeah. No. I agree. There may be some overlap, but I think it's complete. It's the base is a different audience.
Yeah.
You have like kids aren't going to go see Tenet. They're going to go see Mulan, and probably vice versa.
And you have a lot of kids that, I mean, I don't know really what the state of summer camp is and like, your usual summer things that you do as a child with everything that's going on. So I could see, in the limited way that it is, that, kids will probably be going to the movies once everything opens up to that extent. And I feel like that they're probably thinking about all of those angles. So I feel like that movie would do well in, this situation. I think. The only other option is to release it with Disney, release it on Disney Plus, and I don't understand how they make money off of that.
That'd be insanity.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd put it out in the fall or something like that.
But like,
year,
it's not
$10 billion on the table.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like they're
go to theaters.
Right. It's not like they're gonna make money from new subscriptions, from Mulan. So they need to kind of strategically place it somewhere, and I think that's a good place.
Yeah, I think you just got to commit to it and just go.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a bad idea, but it makes a statement.
Mm-hmm.
The house will not be pushed around.
I agree. It makes a statement. I just don't know if Disney has the balls to go through with it.
I mean, considering all the things they've done over the past year, I feel like they do. I feel like they can just kind of do whatever they want.
But speaking of getting pushed around, Wonder Woman has gotten delayed once again. How do we think Gal Gadot's feeling right now?
probably pretty comfortable in a fancy house somewhere.
Yeah,
True.
I feel like that film especially, like, that's a good spot. I feel like October has always served very well for Warner Brothers. They've always been able to, like, find a good foothold in that month. So I think by that point, I think people will probably end up going to see it for sure.
Isn't that spot like something like 4 weeks before it would have been like a year before it was supposed to? Wasn't this movie supposed to come out in November?
It was supposed to come out in December originally.
December of 2019?
Yeah.
When Rise of Skywalker was coming
You're
out.
pushing like a year.
Yeah.
You're getting there.
How long has it been?
That's ridiculous.
So, at this point, when Wonder Woman comes out on October 2nd, when did Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey come out? Has it been a year? No. It came out in the summer, right? August?
No, it was February of this year.
Okay.
Yeah, right before all this stuff happened.
It feels like
I
that movie.
I know quarantine has been tough, but
it feels like that movie came out
hasn't
such a
been
long
that
time
long.
ago.
Yeah, I don't know what day it is right now, so.
But you have to think, like, they want to keep a presence, so that was just my thought. They don't want to push it.
I think it's a good thing. I think it's going to do better in October than it would have in August.
And you can't move it to November or December because it's getting really packed at the end of the year, especially now.
You'll sell a hell of a lot of Halloween costumes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Godzilla versus King Kong, Matrix 4, either of those delays bumming you guys out? Were you excited for either of them?
I think King Kong wins this one. I feel like this is more of a summer movie than a November
movie.
It might miss out on its Academy Award nod not coming out at the end of the year, but I think May 21st is. I feel like that's a much more suitable day for this movie. You just see two monsters beat each other down.
The moment Bond got delayed to November, it was only a matter of time before they moved this.
I honestly forgot about that movie.
They were going to open 5 days apart. Yeah. Who the fuck would see Godzilla vs. Kong over the last Daniel Craig Bond movie? And the funny thing is, No Time to Die has now moved up 5 days. The moment Godzilla moved away, they're like, okay, we're good. We're taking that spot now. We're opening before Thanksgiving. But yeah, I would agree with you that it's much more of a May summer movie than a November flick.
Yeah, definitely. Matrix is Matrix. Let them do whatever they're going to do with it.
Well, they also the Keanu Reeves summer of spring/summer of 2021 or no 2022 with Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 a month apart.
I like that. I like that a lot.
That'll be a good double feature because Matrix will definitely still be in theaters by the time John Wick comes out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Unless they push that. I mean, they could push that, right?
They've already pushed John Wick.
Have they started filming it yet?
No, he does it right after Matrix.
Okay.
But they were both supposed to come out the same day.
Yeah.
In 2021.
It was going to be Keanu Reeves' day.
Yeah. Awful. It was going to be a holiday. But then John Wick moved. Then The Matrix moved. And it sucks that Matrix had to move a whole year. I was pretty excited for that one. I don't even know why, because the sequels were pretty bad. Yeah. But I feel like nostalgia for that first movie now is we're at that point where it's hitting that 20-something year mark where jonesing for something new.
Yeah.
And I don't know. For some reason, I have hope that it will be that it will be a good movie. I don't know why.
You got that Morpheus hope, dude.
I
blind and absolutely no foundation to it, but you're hopeful.
Exactly.
This will be the time.
I've taken the I don't know if it's the red pill or the blue pill, but I've taken whatever pill gives me hope. Probably the one that Joe Pantoliano takes that just makes him stay in the Matrix where things are good.
That's the smart pill. It's like you can take a pill where your life sucks, you got a hole in your neck,
You wake up,
or you could take another pill and like you're plugged in and you're eating steak every night in a beautiful house.
I'm in the bugged out Matrix right now, where things are not going perfect, but we're gonna get a new Matrix movie soon. So
yeah,
that's where we're at.
Just as soon as they destroy that civilization that exists outside of our current Matrix, everything will be better again, right?
Exactly.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
And then Dune, like we said, staying put. So, shockingly, I kind of expected that to be pushed for one of these other movies in December. I mean, it's still very well could
There's
happen.
still time, yeah.
A lot can happen between now and December. But as of now, it's coming out. I know we're all looking forward to it to varying degrees.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it more when the time comes.
Sure.
Let's move on to some of the big news of this week. First, let's go right back to Keanu Reeves. He's the man of the hour. Bill and Ted, Face the Music. The teaser came out this week. As we talked about last week, I don't have a clue what's going on with this series, but I watched the teaser, and I'm ready to see it.
I'm sure that was helpful.
Yeah.
It looked fun.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves doesn't have facial hair, which is weird, but
it's
really jarring to see again.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it looks like it's gonna be a fun movie. What did you guys think?
It doesn't look awful. Saying something.
Yeah, it did just enough. Like, we still don't really know what the story is, which I liked. I appreciated that they kind of held back. We don't really know what's going on, other than that for some reason Bill and Ted didn't write the song that saved the world yet.
So they did not pull a Tenacious D.
They did not pull the Tenacious D. And then it looks like the telephone booth that travels through time is back. And there's some sort of time travel, looks like different alternate timelines, maybe, with the super jacked Bill and Ted.
I'm excited for that, but that reminds me of Zoolander 2 with Jack Mugatu, and that didn't work out very well.
Yeah. Yeah, I took it as that there's going to be some sort of alternate timelines that they're jumping through.
Bill and Ted 2, like a weird, twisted hell timeline type thing going on, maybe.
The only thing that my only hesitation with that trailer was that I thought Keanu, I don't know if it's that his voice changed or he just he didn't fall back in the character on the couple lines I heard him say. Like, it didn't seem like the same. Whereas Alex Winter, like, his delivery was exactly the same. Yeah, it was just like it didn't skip a beat. Keanu Reeves, something felt a little off. I don't know if it's just that I thought, he's kind of John Wick now, so it's weird for him to be this surfer guy, or I don't know, but something felt a little off, I thought, with Keanu.
Yeah, I mean, I will agree with Doug, definitely. Keanu Reeves, it seemed like he wasn't on like the same pace from the originals. Like he's just in John Wick mode. But I think a lot of that also has to do psychologically, that we're so used to seeing him as John Wick that probably plays a role. But I think it looks fun. It looks like Bill and Ted. So I'm excited. It's very nostalgic, right?
They could do a reverse Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and, have used the bad takes for the trailer and then the good takes for the movie instead of having all of Harrison Ford's great lines go to the cutting room floor and have like the B take in like every scene. So
yeah,
maybe there's that.
I'm hoping that it just the way they cut it just seemed a little off. But when you watch the movie, it flows. It's
also a teaser trailer, and I'm not a big fan of teaser trailers because I feel like, especially with it being a teaser trailer, like it's cut in such a way where it's just they want you to see only like a specific, view. So we'll see once we get a full trailer, which I'm surprised that they just didn't just do a full trailer at this point.
Well, I mean, it might have been cut by some guy going crazy in his house with the coronavirus.
I'm sure it was.
Just sort of slap something together and then,
So maybe in
we'll get a full trailer sooner than There'll be a very small gap.
What do you think? Like 2 months, maybe?
It will be with
a month and a half.
It'll be with Inception or Tenet.
Okay, so not even that. Yeah.
It'll be very soon. It can't. It would have to be with Inception because Tenet only would come out 2 weeks before the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So
yeah, we'd get it in July.
Yeah. So the timeline is going to be, definitely smaller. This was just more to kind of get it in social media, get it trending, people thinking about it, and then
and they had to drop it on Bill and Ted Day.
Yeah. So should be interesting.
All right, but getting to something trending that's hyping up something in the pipeline. Today, Josh Gad put out his latest Reunited Apart episode, this time focusing on 1984's Ghostbusters, the original. We've got Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was supposed to come out this July, coming out now in, March, I believe, of 2021. But today we got almost the entire original cast together again. Everyone minus Harold Ramis, rest in peace, and Rick Moranis, rest in Canada. What did you guys all think? Did you enjoy this installment? Did you think it was as good as the others? Personally, I thought Bill Murray was the man in it, and was very happy to see him with everyone and in good spirits.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a humongous fan of Ghostbusters. I was honestly a little bit let down by this. I think it got a little awkward when they were Kumail Nanjiani and Josh Gad were trying to get them to complete lines for the movie, and they fucked them all up.
Yeah, that didn't work.
I didn't like that at all.
It hurt me a little bit inside. I like some of the special guests they got that were completely ancillary characters in the movie. But, I mean, seeing Bill Murray happy was great, and I just, it just makes me, it makes me happy that Ernie Hudson has been the embodiment of Ghostbusters since, the end of Ghostbusters 2. All he does, he goes to conventions. He's always wearing his Ghostbuster stuff. He's been an absolute champion for this movie. When you have Bill Murray, who sort of distances himself from it, and Dan Aykroyd, who is just fucking insane,
who's obsessed with
crazy.
Ghostbusters like his life, because he makes money every time someone says Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Did you see his shirt?
Yes,
it was New Jersey. That was surprising. Some weird Ghostbusters New Jersey shirt, but yeah, he's gone off the deep end. But I mean, seeing everyone was good. It seemed like some of them just really didn't want to be there.
It seemed like the people who wanted to be there the most, I thought, were Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah,
I thought she was like the fucking happiest person in the world, which is so cool. Bill Murray, I thought was super happy to be there, which I wasn't expecting. I know none of us were expecting that.
No.
And I thought Annie Potts was awesome.
Yeah.
And every time Annie Potts said, Bill Murray would be like, Annie, what'd you think? I just thought it was hilarious watching the two of them interact.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't like what you said about the quizzing on the questions. I prefer it just do these lines the way they did it with the other movies, with Lord of the Rings, with Back to the Future. I definitely preferred that. I didn't like them bringing on the random people at the end.
I liked Walter Peck. I thought that was great.
No, Walter Peck I don't think is random. I think he absolutely should have been there.
You're talking about the people with the first scene?
The last four people that came on.
The guy with the nasal spray.
Yeah, it's funny and all, but I felt like the rest of the cast is this is kind of weird. We're all buddies, and I don't know, it was cute, but I don't know, it didn't do anything for me really.
Yeah, you had people that were literally in a 10-minute scene. I mean, how long is the?
It's less than 10 minutes.
The testing scene,
probably 3 minutes max.
Yeah, it's just a gag that I
mean, it's a fantastic scene. It's one of the best scenes.
Oh yeah,
in the movie.
It's great.
Yeah.
I don't care what either one of them are doing right now. I didn't even know. I had to actually rewind it because I think I zoned out for a second to figure out who the hell they were when they were on the screen. There's just one guy with this mane of hair, and I was just like, I don't know who these people are.
But Ray Parker Jr. doing the song at the end was all.
That was neat.
Yeah.
I like how they always have someone involved with the music on, I think, every single one of them so far. But you guys excited for Ferris Bueller? JP, I know you think Ferris Bueller is like an all-around great person who wouldn't hurt a fly. He's the best
absolute
friend.
worst friend that has ever existed on the face of the earth.
Yeah,
and you also think Sloan is an incredible name.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to insult anyone that would listen to our podcast with the name of Sloan. That's not for me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care.
I'm waiting for Beetlejuice. I know it's in the cards. I know it's like Just Gad's ready to do it.
He's got to do it. We're all going back out into the world.
Yeah, I feel like
he's losing opportunities.
I feel like he's gonna hit on all of the nostalgic classics. I mean, if he can get the actors together, Ferris Bueller's gonna be fun, I'm sure. But I still think that he, at this point, peaked with Lord of the Rings. That was definitely the best so far.
Gonna be a hard one to top.
Yeah, it will be a hard
and
one to top.
It has nothing to do, like, it's not his fault. It's just like everyone kind of has to be, in it. So
I don't think this stops though anytime soon. I think when people go back into the real world, they still can pull this off.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
not a difficult engagement at all.
I agree with you completely. It's more just that I think, especially with Lord of the Rings, which is very interesting because I'm almost positive that most of them still stay pretty, close with each other. Like they're friends. They still talk. So, with a lot of these, it's just like you're bringing people that haven't talked in like however many years. Yeah. So the chemistry isn't really there. But with Lord of the Rings, it was like you felt it. And I
also think it's inherently easier to do now because no one's going out and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And once people have jobs or people can move around freely, I think it's gonna be a lot harder to get this type of thing done, and people are probably gonna be less approachable to doing it.
It'll definitely be tougher.
Yeah.
But I think people know there's a demand for it. Like people want to see this, and it's easy publicity. Like it gets them all in the news for really not having to do anything.
You're trending the next day immediately, or hours later.
And who the fuck is talking about Annie Potts in right now?
Yeah.
And
unless you watch the Toy Story short from whenever they're acting out a few months ago, then probably no one.
Ghostbusters is the first one where it felt like a little bit of a promotion rather than just getting the cast back together. It felt like they were also trying to promote Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah,
especially by bringing Jason back in, or bringing Jason in.
Yeah. It felt like they were all trying to just hang out and have a good time, and there was like a nerd there screaming about Ghostbusters. And they're just like, yeah, come on. I mean, I like the skit in the beginning with Jason, and then bringing in Ivan Reitman, and I personally want to see a reunited apart with Dave and
I
Kevin Klimes.
I want to see a reunited apart with Evolution. Ivan Reitman bring the Evolution gang together.
Oh, that would be great to see Duchovny in his element.
He should have joked about that being the movie that he was going to reunite because essentially it was Ghostbusters with aliens.
That was a great movie.
It's got a damn good cast and it's fun. But let's move on. Some news, actually, some other news from today because we are filming this on Monday. The Academy Awards today announced that they are extending eligibility for their nominees to the end of February. This could have, it's going to have implications for not just this year, but obviously next year, since I assume they will go back to February, or I guess March to December next year, which is a shortened window. And then this year, I have to think that a lot of movies that were going to come out in, let's say, March or April, they're going to throw out some limited releases in February, so then they're eligible for Academy Awards. You think this is like? Do you think this makes sense? Do you think they should have just been like, "Fuck it, the year is what it is." Bad Boys for Life is being nominated for Best Picture, or like, does it make sense to extend it for 2 months?
I'll finally feel highbrow if that's the case. I think it's great, and I think it's a fairly good idea. I mean, it'll make for a better award show because you're seeing what 1 week makes of when movies are coming out. So, I mean, I feel like it gives a little more incentive to, find a spot for some of these movies that, like, it might actually incentivize them to move some movies up just to get them in there, because the competition is so weak that,
And it's actually funny as shit that this happened today, because earlier this week they announced that 10 movies have to be nominated. So we were close to getting 10 movies nominated in a year where nearly nothing was coming out.
Yeah. Movies 7 through 8 is going to be cricket noises.
I think they realized that like 3 days later, and they're like, "Oh shit, there's no movies out this year. We are going to be nominating the weirdest films ever for Best Picture. We need to extend this another 2 months."
Yeah.
And it was a really bad year to make that decision to go to 10 movies.
Exactly. And that was something I thought about after we had talked about it in our text chain earlier this week. Like, really? You're going to do it this year? Okay.
Now, did they extend the window as well, or is it still until December? Until the end of the year?
No, they extended the window. The window goes to the end of
February.
To the end of February. So, I mean, it's they have to do that. I mean,
like, I think the first movie I thought of was the Sopranos prequel movie. It was originally supposed to come out in September, and they moved it to, I believe, March. I have to think now they put that out. Either they move it up a month, or they put out in limited in February. Because I would think that would have been an Academy type movie, or they realized it was not going to be, and that's why they pushed it to March.
Maybe it was fringe, though. I mean, maybe it was something they didn't think they could contend, and now that this is happening, they move it up.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of release date changes over the next few weeks.
Probably for the better, though,
Yeah. These ones are going to be like one where like, oh, cool, this is awesome. Things are moving up. But we've said before, anything can happen.
Yeah,
so.
Unless August, starts, the second plague or the third plague or all the channels that I've been seeing start attacking.
But I feel like a lot of the changes are going to be very strategic. Like, you're going to see movies just move in very, very minute different ways, over the next couple months, I feel. Like,
it's kind of cool.
It's
movie chess.
You can
it
really
and I love it. I find it fascinating.
It's like never happened before, where like movies are just so fluid and moving around. It's actually kind of cool to see what these people get paid for.
Yeah, I mean,
we saw Warner Brothers make some moves Friday night.
Yeah,
and every other studio made moves as well because
absolutely
of what they did.
You're seeing
Disney. It was fascinating to watch.
Yeah, you're seeing like these is more or less like the marketing teams just like reacting, to one studio shifting something else, and then they're rebuttaling. It's because like social media, especially now with this industry, is king. I mean, you have to be reactive. So with everything that's going on, so it's like one movie shifts here, it's like, all right, I'm going to shift here. So I think that's going to continue probably well into next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about putting it on a release date where you have a hold on the zeitgeist for as long as possible, at least one weekend. Maximize your box office and the amount people talk about you on social media and whatnot. But unless anyone else has anything else to say about this, we can move on to our hot topic of the week.
Yeah, I think
I'll take your silence for let's move on to the hot topic of the week. So, King of Staten Island dropped this week. Judd Apatow directed film. So this week we wanted to talk specifically about his impact on comedy in the 21st century. I think the four of us would agree that he is the most influential voice in comedy since 2000. Both he's had an impact on TV and movies. Whether it's directing, writing, producing, etc. I mean, almost all the stars of the last 20 years have been involved with him, whether it's him like making them into a name or putting them in a like defining feature film. I mean, you can look at Steve Carell, Seth Rogen, Will Ferrell, Jim Carrey, James Franco, Jason Segel. You really can go on and on with the amount of people that he is like put on the map, or gave them a big role while they were already on the map. Adam Sandler. So let's go into what we want to talk about right now is our 5 favorite films that Apatow was involved with, no matter whatever the capacity. Sorry, Judd, you were not put in here for acting in anything. But we've got a bunch of things that he either directed, produced, or wrote. Corey, you want to start with your list? We'll just go down. We do have some crossover between all of our lists. One of them very high on all 4 of them, and it's actually the first film on your list.
You want to go 5-1?
Fuck it. Let's go 5-1. We're going to go 5-1, guys.
Yeah, build some suspense. Also, I want him to start off with his 5th movie.
Number 5 film is not on anyone else's list.
Yeah, I mean, Don't Mess with the Zohan is definitely gonna... I didn't even realize that this was a Apatow film. I didn't know that he was involved in it. But I feel like this movie ages like a fine wine. It ages very well. The jokes to me have always kind of played off very much of like Mel Brooks. Like, he makes fun of everyone. And in this film, they make fun of everyone in the film. Every character in the film, they make fun of. And I feel like it was probably one of the... would say probably the most well-written Adam Sandler movie we've had in a very long time. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys disagree, but and there's not a lot of films that are, after that are really, kind of up to snuff. A lot of his movies went on like the downhill after that, but I still think it's really funny. It's stupid, but it's funny. So that's my number 5.
Yeah, I mean, it was co-written. It was Sandler, Judd, and Robert Smigel that co-wrote the film. I think of Sandler's broad comedies, it was his best one of like the late, between like probably 2005, 2010. And I think his best one of the past decade has also been involved with Robert Smigel. But he's also done more serious comedy with Apatow, with Funny People, which ironically was not the funniest movie.
Yeah, it's not great.
But
that was pretty good.
I think with Zohan, it's just that they knew what they were making fun of, and they kind of just went all in on it. It was stupid. They just, it was a very stupid comedy, and just I feel like they kind of went all in on all the jokes, and if you like that type of really dumb comedy, I feel like you'll enjoy it. I mean, Adam Sandler's, I feel like he's having fun. He brings all of his crew, all of his friends into the film that he usually does. And I just thought it was really funny.
The movie doesn't give a fuck. Like it.
Yeah, there are no serious parts in this movie.
No, they don't care about who they offend.
Yeah. It satirizes everyone. It doesn't give a shit. And I do enjoy the fact that it's got balls, and especially for a PG-13 rated movie. In only 12 years ago, it does a lot of shit that they would not have the balls to do right now.
Absolutely not. No way.
So
one of them being casting Dave Matthews as a villain.
Yeah.
Not even a villain. He was like a fucking KKK guy.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Hilarious.
To think that was 12 years ago is crazy, Yeah,
no, I think the film, I don't think of, when I think of Judd Apatow movies, like you said, like I don't think of it, I don't think of You Don't Mess with the Zohan. But I do think of it as a very funny Adam Sandler movie, late career or mid-career Adam Sandler movie. And I respect the fact that you have something as weird as this on your list versus the rest of us who our movies are fairly conservative, very different ones, but the ones that you would expect and think of when you think from the guy who brought you blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. You don't typically see from the guy who brought you You Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Yeah, I feel like this movie, it has aged well, and if you guys haven't watched it probably over the past couple years, I would recommend watching it, because I watched it last year, and it was funny. It was just dumb fun. So I think
all right.
Yeah.
What's your number 4?
So my number 4 is Knocked Up, and I know it's a little bit higher on everyone else's list, I believe.
Nope.
But
just JP.
Just JP. Oh. But I really enjoyed this movie, just at the time, especially it was one of the first, I feel like, really just really realistic comedies, and a lot of the story was written very well. It was a very relatable script, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch to say on this movie. I mean, it's pretty high up on my list. I'm not
Can JP
away, but
we might.
I just think it's such a complete movie, and it's not. It's something you can go and watch when you want to laugh. It's something you can go when you watch and you want to watch just something with a good storyline to it. Something you can go and watch if you're feeling sappy, like you want to go have a baby or some shit.
Because
you want to relive your glory days.
Movies.
Yeah, if you want to go relive your glory days of the days you'd spend hanging around an empty pool, smoking weed and drinking beers with your friends, you can go watch this movie for that reason. And it's just there's so much in this movie that makes it just a blast to watch in whatever mood you're in.
You get the group hangouts with fucking Jonah Hill, Jason Segel, Martin Starr, Jay Baruchel, and Seth. Then you get the whole the new family dynamic with Paul Rudd, Leslie Mann, Seth, Katherine Heigl, and the kids. And then you get the romance with Seth and Katherine Heigl. It really is 3 movies thrown into one, which kind of explains why the movie's as long as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it does work, which was impressive as hell. Especially
it doesn't feel long at all.
No, it does. It really doesn't feel long, and it was Rogen's first big movie. outside of being a supporting character in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
I feel like a lot of it comes down to just the writing. I mean, the writing in that movie is one thing that definitely stands out for me. I feel like the dialogue is not only relatable, but just it's funny, and they, it gets real, and then funny, at the right times. Movie definitely has its down points, and it's realistic points, but then it also has the perfect moments when it actually makes you laugh, and then it goes back. So I think they wrote it in expertly. They wrote it very well. I think that helps for sure.
And the cool thing is it's so much improv.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I never knew, Doug. I never knew that either until recently.
His movies are so much improv.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching them talk about King of Staten Island, and things did not change for him. Judd's movies are, you got the template, you have stuff to work with, but then bring what you've got to the table, and if it's better, it's better.
So what's interesting about that is I also have Knocked Up on my list, and I would have thought, because you're right, Apatow is known for going heavy on the improv, and that's usually why his movies tend to be sometimes on the longer side, is just improv. You tend to get a lot of dialogue and material that's not maybe as precise as you would get with a script, but Knocked Up doesn't feel, it feels like it was written that way.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like improv at all. And it seemed a lot more precise and surgical, I think, than some of the other Apatow movies. So, yeah, I didn't know that movie was mainly improv. I would have thought it was scripted.
Yeah, everything just flows very well with that film. It's definitely, I mean, obviously it's not my favorite, but the film itself just, it flows very well from a script perspective, and it's always something like you catch like a half hour, 20 minutes on TV, and it just grabs you. It's just a well-made film. It is.
All right, what about your number 3 film?
So my number 3 is Walk Hard, and this is another film that I didn't actually initially realize that Judd actually helped write the script for, but I love this film because the music it's more or less a musical, and it's every single time I watch it, it's fantastic. The jokes are great. I think it hits on everything that it's supposed to. It's supposed to, be designed to hit on, like comedically. So I think that it's a fantastic film. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Walk Hard was on my list. It was number 4 on my list, I believe. A fantastic parody. I mean, that's ultimately what the film is a parody of musical biopics, primarily Johnny Cash's story, Walk the Line. I still remember going to see that opening night and just dying. The songs are fantastic, way better than they have any right to be. I have the soundtrack on vinyl.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's something where I still feel like it's a secret. Like, people don't know how good this movie is. Like, they haven't seen it. Like, a movie bombed. Like, it did bad in movie theaters. I think it made like $20 million, maybe.
I feel like it was released at the wrong time. It was just the wrong time.
It came out I think the week before Christmas in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very bad release date. But it was the same year Knocked Up and Superbad came out. Like, Judd was on a fucking roll. They probably thought the movie was going to do very well, and it just did not do well. But John C. Reilly is at the peak of his comedic abilities, because that guy can do drama and comedy just as well as one another.
Yeah.
But I could not recommend to anyone enough that if they have not seen this film, to give it a shot and to just accept the fact that it is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's a movie where people get chopped in half with machete, and it's just like it's a normal thing. You'll love it. If you don't, your sense of humor and our sense of humor is a little different, but there's nothing wrong with that. JP, I know you're a big fan of it.
Oh, I love this movie. It didn't quite make my top 5, but yeah, I can quote this movie all day, every day, and it's just fantastic. Like you said, it's on par with like a Tenacious D album.
Mm-hmm.
The music shouldn't be good, but it is, and it's just there are so many people in this movie that I mean. One of the highlights is Jack White playing Elvis, and that's never in a million years where I thought that was but it's just the cameos they got for this movie and the people that they played were so well put throughout this entire movie that it's a journey, and it's an absolutely hilarious journey.
Harold Ramis is one of the Jewish producers. We were talking about Harold Ramis earlier.
He's in a lot of these.
Yeah.
I can
him and
2 or 3 of these at least.
Yeah, a bunch of things together. Yeah, Knocked Up.
Yep, Knocked Up.
I mean, I see Walk Hard, especially. Like, I see this movie as as a musical. Like, in a lot of ways, it really is. I mean, the music is such a prominent piece of the film itself that you could really, take it as a musical.
If the music's bad, the movie doesn't work.
It doesn't.
Yes.
No, it's what I'm saying. Like this, it would. I mean, I know Murph. We've talked about this so many times, where John C. Reilly and cast members come back and just play the songs because the songs are so catchy. Just do it live on tour, and that's I think the piece that sticks with me the most. I mean, the jokes hit without a doubt, but the music is awesome. Like the songs that they created were fantastic, and they're catchy, really catchy, and they're hilarious on top of it.
All right, what do you got for number 2, Corey?
So my number 2 is Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I feel like most people who have seen this film can definitely relate, in a lot of ways, to the subject matter. But I mean, the story and the comedy are just hilarious and very grabbing, and it just brings you into the entire story about everything that's going on in the film. And it's the jokes still hit, and it's a great film. I just really like it.
We want to talk about another movie that revolves around music. I mean, this is one of those as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Jason Segel. I mean, I feel like when he's in his element. He's an actor that you really notice. And this was definitely a film where, because he co-wrote or basically wrote this film, didn't he?
Yeah.
And, it was about, period in his life. And you can really see that, it was definitely a passion piece for him. And it shows. I mean, he was fantastic. The whole entire cast was fantastic. I mean, you have Russell Brand, who was
in
that role.
Out of that film.
Absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. Absolutely.
I mean, that movie basically spawned an album that was just Russell Brand singing stupid crap.
His career basically launched from that, movie, right?
About a completely minor character that became a different character in the new movie,
which is more or less his real self at that point in time. That Aldous Snow was Russell Brand back in whatever year that was. I mean, the guy went through a lot, but it just hits on a lot of the right notes, and it's still. I think I watched it. I saw it on TV a couple months ago, and it's still is hilarious. The jokes are great, and it's a relatable story. So I feel like everyone can kind of relate to that, in some way, shape, or form. And it was just fantastic. So that one always sticks with me for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the movie's got a lot of heart. I have it on my list as well. And yeah, you could tell that Jason Segel wrote it from a very personal place. It's something, as you said, breakups happens to everybody. And you could just kind of relate to the character, and then he makes it funny as hell to watch. Kristen Bell is great in it. Like you guys said, Russell Brand is awesome. I think he does better as a side character than he does a main character in a movie. Yeah. I think trying to give him his own movie probably wasn't a great idea. I don't know that it works quite as well.
I don't know. I like Get Him to the Greek. I thought that was
a funny movie, but it doesn't work as well as Forgetting Sarah.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's still funny though. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I thought it worked a little bit better with like this Jason Segel being kind of the straight man, and Russell Brand kind of playing off of him a bit.
He's like,
Jason Segel's a better straight villain man than Jonah Hill is. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, before Movie Gone, the one thing that always sticks in my mind with that film is that first, the first scene where, where Sarah Marshall breaks up with him, and like he's in his towel, and he's like, look at what I have for you,
and like, with you.
And it's just, it's like, it's so embarrassing. Like, it's so,
fantastic. Yeah. It's fantastic cringe comedy.
It's just
Jason Segel put it all out there.
Yeah, and like even like in that situation, like it's acting, but like like someone's breaking up with him, like, and to try to replicate that for everyone that has had that situation happen to them, but in the most ridiculous way, and like it was well written. Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's a good movie.
Not to get like philosophical, but yeah, him being naked, although really funny, is also like when you're more vulnerable than when you're butt-ass naked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's kind of a shitty state to get broken up in.
Yeah. So.
All right.
So my number one that I have is Superbad. I feel like for the four of us, this came out at the perfect time. We were in college, right? And it just hit home. It hit home. It struck a chord with us, and I feel like I compared this film to, in a lot of ways, to Animal House. It just strikes a chord with that generation, and not only was it a fantastic film, but it continues to age very well. The jokes are still hilarious, and I feel like a lot of depending on your generation, like the jokes are still going to be funny. They're still going to be relatable, and yeah, I mean that I feel like is like the best film that he's made. That he's been involved in, that Judd Apatow's been involved in. I think it's hilarious.
It's basically the Lord of the Rings for a bunch of sub 21 high school, college kids that want to go out and drink but can't because society won't sell them beer.
Gotta get that gold slick vodka.
I mean, it's the most ridiculous plot, but it just works. It works so well, and Michael Cera and Jonah Hill were fantastic together. They had great chemistry. Another film that had a bazillion cameos. I feel like all of Judd Apatow's films, like you're always going to get like cameos from a lot of different comedians and actors. Sure. And they didn't disappoint with this. It's just written very well. I mean, I think it's like timeless. It's like a perfect film.
Also a breakout role for Emma Stone, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
breakout for her. I mean, Christopher Mintz-Plasse will never do any.
He is McLovin.
that made his career. I mean,
he's done some funny stuff since then, but he is McLovin and will always be McLovin.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
but I mean, that's a movie that if it's on TV,
Seth Rogen and Bill Hader are fucking incredible in it.
Yes, yeah, I feel like they're the best characters. I feel, other than
you could have made it, and the fact I wish
they could make a movie just with them.
I wish they had made a spinoff because it would be incredible just watching the two of those characters.
Right. Yeah.
Even just like, it would just be like a cops type drama.
Yeah,
I would watch it.
I almost wonder if they even kicked around the idea. They might have.
I mean, the original goal was that Seth would be playing Seth, and I guess somebody else would be playing Evan because Evan Goldberg's not an actor. But they just Seth aged out of the role because he fucking aged out of the role when he was fucking 18, probably when he was 16 years old. He didn't even look passable for 18 years old.
Yeah, you could just.
So he wrote himself one of the best characters in the entire script.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could just tell that script especially is it was very curated. The jokes and the story, were curated by a very specific amount of people, and it just worked so well, and it continues to. I feel like it's a timeless film. So
yeah, and I don't feel like those characters work without Bill Hader. I mean, Bill Hader was the glue for the Seth Rogen Bill Hader. It's great.
Yeah,
it's absolutely great. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, all four of us had it in our top two. I had it number 2. I can easily push it up to number 1. I was torn between my 1 and 2. Doug, I believe you had it at number 1. JP, you had it at number 2. Corey had it at number 1. So it's hands down the highest rated movie among the four of us.
Yeah, we definitely have a bias.
All four of us talked together. When it came out, and I don't think I've been in a movie theater that laughed as loud throughout that entire movie.
It's
no joke. The crowd went insane throughout that entire thing.
Yeah.
And it was just an incredible experience.
It's nonstop. What's great about that movie is it's just it's nonstop. It's just laugh after laugh.
Even when it gets sappy, it's fucking funny.
Yeah.
And that's tough to do. But it pulls it off. And I know Judd was the person who said you got to get sappy. You need some heart to this movie, or the whole thing just isn't going to work.
Yeah.
It's just going to be two fucking horny kids that are kind of inappropriate and
horrible people.
Yeah,
you are in high school where you say dumb shit about everyone.
You really need to have that emotional glue.
About the relationship between the two of them, going away for college, away from one another, them having their concerns about that, and dealing with the fact that they are different people despite the fact that they are best friends. It's a relatable shit, and it really does work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doug, you want to get into your top 5? I know there's a lot of overlap.
I was just looking at my top 5, and I was like, not a lot that hasn't been covered. But, yeah, so number 5 was Knocked Up. Number 4 was Pineapple Express, which we haven't talked about yet.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so it's what I like about this movie. I still remember the trailer in theaters.
It might be the best trailer of all time. It's fantastic.
Paper Planes.
Yep.
The song. Great song, great trailer. It definitely got me hooked right away. And eager to see it. And I don't think the movie disappoints. I think it lives up to the action comedy that it built itself to be. The action is fun, ridiculous. Kind of brought action comedies back. After I don't think we had seen an action comedy movie in a while, especially not an Apatow action comedy. And the cast is awesome. You've got Seth Rogen, Danny McBride, James Franco. It's just an all-around fun movie, and I thought it deserved a place in the top 5.
That was one of the first movies where they started bringing in Craig Robinson too, which is
You're right,
because
yeah,
he needs to be in more things. He's hilarious.
And you have an awesome Gary Cole villain performance.
Yeah, a very unsuspecting villain. This movie, when I saw it, honestly, was a swing and a miss for me. Like, seeing it in theaters, I remember walking out and just being like, that didn't hit at all. And as I've watched it more and more over the years, I find myself quoting this movie almost daily.
It gets funnier the more you watch it.
It gets a lot funnier the more you watch it. And
I love Gary Cole and Rosie Perez. They're hilarious together in that film. They're just, I don't know what it is, but just like their chemistry is fantastic.
The two of them are great together. Kevin Corrigan and Craig Robinson are fantastic together.
Danny McBride fucking slayed it in this movie.
I feel like that was the first. Was that like the beginning of Danny McBride? Was that his breakout? Because that's what I remember him from.
Yeah, they had seen him in The Foot Fist Way, which was a very small indie movie, and they threw him in Pineapple Express, and he stole the show.
And then after that was Eastbound and Down.
Yeah, a year later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you,
guy's
Pineapple Express.
super talented.
Yeah, but I think Pineapple Express was probably on the front, like right off the list for everyone, but very close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's definitely up there.
All right, Doug, what about your number 3?
Number 3. So I put The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Judd's first directorial film.
You're right. This is another movie that just has me laughing a lot every time I watch it. Steve Carell is awesome in this movie.
Perfect, isn't it?
Kills it, yeah, and I believe was part of where they got the character of like the new and improved Michael Scott that we see in season 2.
Yeah, I mean, they came out a month before season 2 of The Office.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. Now that because I've just started watching that show. It really makes sense.
Office guy.
And you can kind of just see that character shift from like the Ricky Gervais type of character to the 40-Year-Old Virgin, Steve Carell, which was a phenomenal shift in my mind. But yeah, I just really like this movie. And I know, Murph, I think you had this one pretty high up on your list.
Yeah, no, I had this at number 1. I was between this and Superbad. But I don't know. I think it's the mix of the fact of Steve Carell, Paul Rudd, and Seth Rogen. Like the 3 of them being in this film, and all 3 of them absolutely killing it, that I had to put it at number 1. And I like the way you can tell how much improv is in it.
It's a ton of improv.
There's so much of it. And all right. And when I am saying 40-Year-Old Virgin is my number 1, I am saying the director's cut, 17 minutes longer. That is my number 1. When they just extend the movie and let the cast do what they're doing, it is perfect. I don't think the director's version had Kevin Hart in it for more than 15 seconds. But when they extend it to his full scene, going back and forth with Romany Malco, it is the funniest Kevin Hart in that film. Amazing. Catherine Keener is just a perfect foil. She goes toe-to-toe perfectly. And with Steve Carell, they're just the perfect match. Kat Dennings, funniest she's probably ever been in a movie, as Catherine Keener's daughter. It's just so well cast. Jane Lynch is hysterical in it. I would say the funniest she's ever been on film. Everyone just fucking Jonah Hill. That's the first time we saw him on film. He just wants to buy
fattest, I think.
He just wants to buy the boots.
Was that the first? That was his first appearance, really, for the most part.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
He was friends with Dustin Hoffman's son, and he got involved somehow via that.
Wow,
everyone is
kind of like Paul Rudd's Launchpad too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, again, his second.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget about Clueless.
His resurgence. Yeah,
I said it's Launchpad, not the first thing.
I always remember him
Friends.
I would say 40-Year-Old Virgin was more important to his comedy resurgence than Anchorman because he wasn't as recognizable in Anchorman.
Yep.
But it came out a year after. But yeah, I just think Elizabeth Banks. I literally can just keep on naming people that their breakout role was in this movie.
Yeah.
And it is just fucking hilarious. Superbad, I will go back and watch it more. But 40-Year-Old Virgin, I think, was just a special movie and really cemented Judd Apatow's place in the comedy landscape in the 21st century.
And Steve Carell famously sacrificed his chest hair for the making of that movie.
That he did.
Oh, God.
I can't believe that.
I hope he got compensated well.
I hope so, too.
Like, real well. Because that ain't worth it.
He fucking wrote the thing, so...
What is with people doing that? Like Jason Segel writing a scene where he's flapping his penis around and then gets woken up with, and then Steve Carell is like, "I'm gonna go get my chest." Why do that to yourself?
Physical comedy.
Yeah,
they know.
Just like
they are putting themselves out there because they know these scenes will be memorable.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we remember every one of those scenes that they did.
That's the most famous scene, probably in 40-Year-Old Virgin, and the opening of Forgetting Sarah Marshall is probably the most famous scene in that movie.
Yeah.
Do you think you write those with just like a big glass of scotch near you, and you're like you're writing it, then you're deleting it, then you're writing it, you're deleting it, you're taking a sip, you're filling it back up after you've taken one sip.
It's a text message you don't know if you want to send or not.
Yeah.
It's like back in the day when you could unsend text messages before they were received. It's like doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
All right, but Doug, your number 2 and 1, I believe we talked about already.
Yeah, so my 2 and 1 are going to finish up pretty quickly. 2 I had Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And then 1, of course, as mentioned, was the great Superbad.
All right.
And so that's my top 5.
JP, let's do it. Top 5.
So it's a little tough for me, but when I made this top 5, it's really just based on what I want to watch the most. Like, what have I watched the most? What do I want to keep going back to? And my number 5, I feel like is kind of cheating because I don't know what type of role he really had in making this movie. But from a top 5 movies with Judd Apatow's name attached to him, Talladega Nights.
Producer?
Yeah, he's a producer on it. I mean, I don't know how much input he had on it. It's really more like Adam McKay's.
It's an Adam McKay. Will Ferrell.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of cheating, but man, I love this movie. I remember catching the last little bit in the movie theater, thinking like this is going to be the dumbest movie ever. We're just killing some time. And then I think we all turned around and said, we got to come back and watch this whole movie because
it's very quotable.
Was one of those. Yeah, it's one of those first movies where I honestly can remember laughing throughout the entire thing and then quoting it for months afterwards, and it's just so outlandishly stupid. But it's a glorious movie. It's a fantastic comedy. One of my favorite Will Ferrell performances to this day. And John C. Reilly, that might have been one of the first times I ever was really introduced to him as an actor, and I loved him. It's got a great cast. The late Michael Clarke Duncan was, I love seeing him in anything. And this was just, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. That's
a classic.
That's a fantastic line from this movie. And I feel like it's kind of cheating, but that's the tail end of my list for sure. I couldn't say anything else than that.
Dude, and how great, 2006, Sacha Baron Cohen had that and Borat.
Yes.
Well, that's
insane.
that movie was, I mean, I was going to mention it, but that movie was basically my introduction to Sacha Baron Cohen, in Talladega Nights. I mean, that was, and then Borat came out after, correct? Later in the year?
Out, like 2 months later.
Yeah, so, I mean, I didn't know who he was. I didn't really watch, his show, Ali G.
The Ali G show?
I think I saw like little bits and pieces, but I never really knew who that comedian was. And yeah, Talladega Nights was absolutely my introduction to him. And
he needs to do more supporting roles in other people's shit and just elevate other movies. Because he is such a gem in Talladega Nights in that supporting role.
Yep.
I mean, this isn't a comedy, but like if you've seen like Les Mis, I mean he plays a supporting role in that film, and like he's awesome. Like he's very talented. He can do a lot of he's not just comedy, a lot of different things. Oh, he's just a great actor.
He's a great actor. I feel like he just does what he wants to do, and that's great. So that was my number 5. Forgetting Sarah Marshall was number 4 for me. I mean, like we've all touched on it. It's just it's one of those good all around movies. It's it's a breakup movie, but it's also like a comedy about someone discovering themselves. It's set in Hawaii, which is absolutely beautiful and just fun to watch in general. And then Russell Brand was. I remember talking about him for pretty much the entire rest of the year, the whole year.
I think the 4 of us went to a comedy special. Was it the 4 of us?
I think I missed it.
It was us 3, I think.
Yeah. Then it was the 3 of us and our good friend Robert Freeberg.
Take my arm, not the shirt.
You were at school. Yeah. You were at college.
Take my eyes.
Take my eyes, but not the shirt.
Yeah, there you go. I was close. I said arm.
Fun fact: I tried to buy a Tommy Bahama shirt on my honeymoon in Hawaii. Very expensive. So expensive.
Aren't they like
Tommy Bahama?
Tommy Bahama.
My goodness. Tommy Bahama, if you're listening, you want to send me a shirt, I'll wear it every day.
Word on the podcast.
Yeah. Every single day. And number 3, I had a movie that we haven't talked about yet, Step Brothers. Once again, I feel kind of like it's cheating because it just kind of feels like an Adam McKay movie. But one of the most quotable movies I've ever seen in my life.
Very quotable.
Every Christmas, we talk about going to Cheesecake Factory, having some scotch and some cheesecake.
We'll do it eventually.
We'll do it one day. It is, once again, nonstop laughter from the get-go to the end, and it's just quotes that you can use in your life, in everyday life, just packed throughout the movie. And I never stop laughing. Nothing gets old in that movie.
It might be this was also on my top 5. I think I had it at 3 as well. Yes, I did. I think we can say this is punch for punch the funniest movie outside of Superbad. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are fucking perfect. They are the best comedic duo of really, I think, of anyone in these movies. The only ones that are anywhere close would be probably Rogan and Franco, I would say, as a comedic duo.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I wouldn't even say they are near how good John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell are together.
I would say Rogan and Hader were better than Rogan and.
You could make that argument as well.
Honestly, but they don't even hold a candle to this. I mean,
but it's not even just them. Like,
no, it's not.
Richard Jenkins.
Fix that drywall now.
We quote him probably more than we quote.
He had some of the best lines in the movie.
Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
Who else we got? Adam Scott.
Adam Scott. Yeah,
his breakout role.
Yeah, that's the first time I was ever introduced to Adam Scott.
His breakout role.
He's never played anything similar to that ever again.
That dude can play the biggest douchebag or the nicest guy.
Yeah.
And he plays them both perfectly. It's incredible, the range that he has. What's her face? Catherine Hahn.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yes.
Just a great cast.
Yeah. It's a comedy superstar cast, for sure.
Boats and hoes.
It's lightning in a bottle, and
it's peak Adam McKay, Will Ferrell, in my opinion. JP, all right. Sidebar. You're a big Other Guys fan. Judd Apatow was not involved with. Judd Apatow was not involved with that. It's Will Ferrell, Adam McKay. Yep. Where would you say Step Brothers or?
Oh shit!
Other Guys?
That's difficult. Shit. It honestly depends what mood I'm in. I'm right now. I'm kind of leaning towards Other Guys. Because I don't remember laughing in a theater as hard as I did, and this has nothing to do with either one of them, when The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson jumped off the building.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Holy crap!
I still have not seen that film.
You've never.
No, I know.
They go down.
I've heard that
the bushes.
I've heard that joke forever now at this point, but I still haven't seen the movie.
God.
I know.
And just
all right. Well, you got homework for tonight.
And Mark Wahlberg is
for your recommendation for next week. Steve Coogan, fantastic in it.
Oh my God, yes.
But we can't go to this. We could go so off track right now. But let's bring it back.
Yeah,
I got nothing else to say about Step Brothers. It's a fucking fantastic movie.
It's so good. And then rounding out my top two is Superbad. I mean, that movie spoke to me at the time. It was kind of where we all were in our lives, just slightly older, and maybe more creepy, I guess, because we were slightly older. But it felt like some stupid movie we would come up with the idea for when we were wandering around the strip malls back home, and just saying, imagine it'd be funny if this happened, and just go off on a tangent for like 3 hours talking about something that never happened. It
could have been us.
Yeah, that was the perfect storm.
God bless.
Yeah,
Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen.
Yes, and then I had Knocked Up as number one movie because I just feel like it's the most complete, and it's just thinking about a movie to watch. I can still picture the DVD cover in my head. In college, I would put that movie on all the time with Seth Rogen's stupid face on it. And
I can picture the DVD screen just on repeat over and over again. Them jumping in the pool.
I listened to that for about 4 hours once. I had it on downstairs, and we never played the movie. Just that menu playing over and over and over again.
It's a classic.
That's my top five.
All right. Let's get into mine. Since the only one of my movies to talk about is my number 5 movie, I'll just start from my number 1 and just break it down. So I had 4-Year-Old Virgin as number 1, Judd's directorial debut. Superbad at number 2, which was essentially Judd shepherding Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg's careers, since they wrote that when they were teenagers. Step Brothers, which in my opinion is peak Adam McKay, Will Ferrell. Walk Hard, which is just an anomaly. But it's music and John C. Reilly, and it's perfect. All right, number 5, which I was actually surprised that was not on anyone's list. I actually subbed it in last minute. Anchorman. Ron fucking Burgundy.
In my defense, I've only seen Anchorman once. I've only seen it once. I have nothing against it. I've only seen it once, so it doesn't really have as huge of an effect on me as a lot of other people.
You got to up those numbers.
I know. I plan on it.
Up those numbers, dog. It was outside of Old School, Will Ferrell's breakout.
Yeah.
I'm lying. Actually, he had Elf also. like 6 months prior, which was massive and actually way bigger than Old School and Anchorman. But I would say Anchorman's the movie that made him the comedic legend that he is today. And it was a film that came out prior to any of the movies Judd directed. Got Adam McKay involved in film outside of like SNL writing and shit like that. But it brought everyone together. You got Will, Steve Carell, Paul Rudd. You had the entire frat pack essentially up here. Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Luke Wilson, et cetera, et cetera. It's as improv as it gets. The movie is just a bunch of skits put in together loosely into a film, but it is funny as shit. When Jack Black punts Baxter off the bridge, that was one of the scenes where I laughed hardest in any movie, which says a lot about how fucked up I am, I guess. But it was so funny. And it's just stupid and it's enjoyable. I can make an argument that there's probably 5 other Judd-related movies that are better than Anchorman. But it's hard to say there's another one that's had the impact that Anchorman had on both his career and comedy in the past 15, 16 years, 16 years in the next couple weeks. I think, Corey, you've already made your remarks about Anchorman. I don't know how you've only seen it once. I've seen the goddamn Wake Up Ron Burgundy alternative movie more than once.
I don't think I've seen. I mean, I know it's the lesser of the films, but I don't think I've seen the sequel ever.
No, don't.
Well, the sequel's terrible, and Judd's not involved in it, so we will not speak of that movie.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't. I've probably
Anchorman.
No, go JP. Yeah,
I was just saying, Anchorman to me, when you say name a movie that is built mostly off of improv, Anchorman is to me the number one thing that comes up. When I think of an improv movie, I think of Anchorman. I think of just you could have probably made 400 movies out of all the crap that they probably filmed for that movie, and they'd probably all be funny.
Yeah,
and just to think about the original pitch for the movie being a bunch of newscasters that got into an airplane accident on a mountain with like, I think the original pitch was like they crash landed on a mountain on a plane that was carrying newscasters and monkeys with like throwing stars. And that was the original pitch for this movie. And how it ever became this was wild, but I'm glad it did because it's such a mundane subject of a movie, and they found a way to make it completely ridiculous, so over the top. And then when all the newscasters come and fight together, it's just that to me is the best scene in the entire movie. When Ben Stiller comes out with a full mane of hair and starts speaking in a Spanish accent, I lose it every single time.
Yeah, the brawl is definitely, the street brawl is my favorite. But I have to I definitely have to watch it again. I mean, I probably have seen scenes so many times over the years, but I've never actually sat down and watched the movie in its entirety more than once. Maybe twice. So I gotta pump up those numbers.
But that's all I gotta say about Anchorman. To close out this Judd segment, I would just say we're lucky as shit that we got to see all of these movies in our teenage and 20-something-year-old selves. Because if you look back at comedies of the 90s or the comedies of the past 5 years, they're fucking weak in comparison. We got some of the funniest comedies of the past 30 years, I would say. Or at least the past... Yeah, no, I would say 30 years. From 1990 to 2020. Those movies came out between that 2004 window to 2014. something like that. So amazing voice. Someone who spoke to the four of us. I'm sure there are plenty of audiences who, unfortunately, it did not speak to. Will get their day, hopefully. But let's move on to what we've watched this past week. We got some recommendations. The first one on our list was Spike Lee's new film on Netflix, The Five Bloods. Doug, I believe you and I are the only ones who have watched that so far.
Yep, I think so.
What were your thoughts on it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Just kind of the things that stuck out to me about the movie that I really enjoyed was the way that Spike Lee used the change in aspect ratio to depict either a certain time or place. The aspect ratio would change to, God, I'm not good at...
Don't even attempt it.
Yeah, I'm not going to attempt it, but it would change when they were going into the past in Vietnam. It was an aspect ratio of similar of like footage that you would see from like Vietnam. And then when they were in present day Vietnam, the aspect ratio was like a
you get wide
theatric widescreen. And then when they were actually in the jungle, it kind of did like the IMAX thing where it fills up the entire screen. And so I really like that Spike Lee used the different aspect ratios to kind of place yourself in a particular time. The movie itself, I thought was really interesting too. If you watch the trailer, it's about a group of 5 African Americans who fought in the Vietnam War. Their leader dies, and so the 4 of them get back together, reunite in Vietnam to bring back the body of their fallen comrade as old men. And so I thought it was interesting. Of course, there's a lot of themes and messaging throughout. One of my biggest criticisms about Spike Lee, I think, is that I think he doesn't let the movie and themes always speak for themselves. I think sometimes he interrupts the story or goes a little overboard on trying to make sure that his message hits home. And for me, as a viewer, I think that the message would be stronger if he held back a little bit. One of the most obvious examples is just like dialogue in the beginning, cutting to certain African Americans who, did things that were like very big accomplishments. And so I appreciated the history lesson, but I didn't think it necessarily flowed with the rest of the story. It felt a little heavy-handed. Same thing with the use of a MAGA hat throughout. There was villain. It seemed like every villain somehow wound up wearing a MAGA hat throughout the movie. And I just thought that seemed, I get it.
It kind of get passed along.
It gets passed along from.
I didn't actually notice that until you just said it. But yeah, it got passed along from one person to another. And they commented on a lot.
Yeah, they make fun of Trump a few times throughout the movie. And so that part of it, I thought, detracted a little bit. I thought the music was great. The acting was really great. I thought, I know, Murph, you and I talked about this a little bit, but Delroy Lindo especially was one of the most, he had the most to do as far as the roles go. He was kind of like the most tortured character in the movie. But I thought he knocked it out of the park. And he had he just played that character so well. I found myself the most engaged when he was talking. And I think it would be a shame if he didn't get some sort of nomination for that role, especially with how weak the Oscars are going to be this year. But no, I think he, even in a strong season, I think he probably deserves a nomination.
You can just have the supporting actor categories just beat The Five Bloods, like all 5 of them, including
that's true. Yeah, I don't want to sell anybody short on that role because you're right, they were all great. But I think part of it is Delroy Lindo had
he had the flashiest role by far.
Yeah, and I thought he rose to that challenge.
The moment like they have him coming out as like a kind of like a MAGA Trumper, you're like, this is not a normal, like, this isn't a character you would expect like a black person to be playing. So it was pretty interesting that Spike Lee didn't go with just like five people that you would expect to be, I don't know, liberal black Americans. It was an interesting touch that he kind of diversified his characters. He had their past experiences play a part in who they were in 2020. I would agree with you that he definitely had the best performance of the movie. It was definitely he had the most to work with. I thought Clark Peters was fantastic in it. He's somebody who I've watched in a lot of the David Simon television shows like The Wire. I thought he was awesome in it. But as far as a Spike Lee film, it was more, I would say, on the entertaining side than the thought-provoking side. It definitely was thought-provoking to a degree, but I would say it was more Black Klansman than Do the Right Thing, or some of his older films. He's been doing a nice balance, I would say, of giving people what they want to see and making them also think about things going on in the world, or how American history has shaped where we're at now. So I would definitely, if you have Netflix, there's really no reason not to check this movie out. It's a lot of different movies in one. Like I watched the first half one night and the second half the following morning, and the second half is completely different in tone, in my opinion, than the first half was.
Yeah, but it fits together nicely. It's just
it fits together nicely.
It's just it starts out one way and then kind of
it turns into like a man on a mission type movie.
Or like kind of like a roller coaster where like the first half is just like the incline up, and then the second half is just the drop.
The second half is it's like a fun action movie. Like it could be something you would have watched in the 80s, which we don't see a lot of those type of action movies now. It also makes you think more than any of those movies in the 80s. But
what's interesting too is like a lot of the Vietnam War movies that we've seen, it's typically like a white cast. So it was, I guess he got the message across when he went with the five guys where they were all black, and so you don't typically see that in Vietnam movies.
No, definitely not. And what you were saying before about some of the stuff feeling like heavy-handed, it's without a doubt an intention of his that he is smacking you upside the head, like making people think like you're a history major. Not everyone is. So I think that's something to consider. He knows he's reaching a wider audience, probably on Netflix, that don't necessarily know all the stories that he's sharing. I know I did not know all the stories that he was sharing. So I do understand the subtlety can be used for I don't know.
Sometimes, if you kind of like lead me to the path and then let me have that revelation, or like it's more powerful than if you're just like,
it's definitely how I prefer things, but I understand why he does it the way he does it.
Yeah, I don't think I think he thinks a lot of people, and he's probably right, that a lot of people just need to be smacked upside the head.
But it's on Netflix. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I think it's a Murph and Doug recommendation.
Yeah, without doubt. I know the other guys on this are planning on watching it eventually. So The next thing on here, which is not movie related, but something that we're all passionate about, which are video games. PS5, Sony debuted a lot of games coming out for their new console, along with the look of the console. First impressions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
just like waiting for Corey to go off.
I'm not a fan. I mean, of the console itself. I do think it's very bold, and if anything, it makes a statement for sure. And it's something that we've as gamers console gamers haven't really seen in a very long time. Like, there's competition, like Microsoft and Sony, like there's competition there. So Sony is trying to, really kind of make a bold statement, and we'll see what happens after this. But I'm not a fan of it, but I definitely at least respect the ballsiness of it.
You respect what they do.
Yeah, I respect what they do. I mean, the games, there were some games that I definitely want, but not at launch. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
What did you like about the console, Corey?
You're like setting them up. You just want them to make this thing.
I
felt a little shortchanged because I didn't get to hear what Corey's gripes were with the console.
So I think it's pretentious. I think it's a very pretentious design. It's outlandish just to be outlandish. And like I said before, I understand that you want to make a bold statement, but I think that artistic design definitely has to come into play, and I don't think that was really where they landed. I think it was more to keep the system cool. I think and to make a bold statement. The design. I don't think anyone can say that it's a beautiful console. They're okay with it. They like it. It's fine. But I don't believe anyone that says that they're in love with it. The design. And the two-tone, for me personally, I think that really diminishes on the design.
I don't know. I agree with Corey. I think it looks ugly as hell.
It's subjective, but that's just immediately, and I've sat on it, and I just hate it. I hate the wings, the collars, the popped collars, and it's not aesthetically pleasing to me at all in any way at all. So that's my take.
Yeah, well, it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you guys. I thought it looks fine. I'm not gonna say it's like a piece of like a work of art that I'm gonna love and it's gonna be the centerpiece of my living room, but it's fine. It's acceptable. I think I prefer that over a giant rectangle that the Xbox is currently offering. At least they tried to make it look sleek and nice.
Mark my words. PS5, that system, that's going to be the Red Ring of Death system. That system's going to melt because of how small it is. It's what's going to happen, regardless of how the Xbox looks like a console or a PC, and I think that's kind of where we're at right now. It needs to be cooled, so we'll see.
I think it looks like a 5-year-old drew a rectangle.
Well, the PS5 looks like a router.
All right, here's what. Ultimately, they can both look like pieces of shit. What matters, literally, a piece of fucking crap. What matters is the games.
That's what matters.
PS5 had some cool shit they showed.
I mean, I'm gonna buy a PS5.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna buy an Xbox.
We got Horizon. We didn't get God of War. but
Next year.
We've talked about, I didn't expect that to be one of the games they showed. They're getting some GTA 5 exclusive stuff because GTA 5 is going to be the game for the.
It's going to come out on every system ever.
It's going to be announced for PS6 in 6 years. I said that. The super enhanced version of it. Rockstar's never going to make a new Grand Theft Auto game, and it's going to sell another 100 million copies. Because I don't understand.
I've never played Grand Theft Auto Online. I don't understand the.
I've never have either.
I don't. Is it?
I played it on PC. It was a good time, man.
Yeah.
You kind of just do whatever you want, and then there's heists and stuff. But I had my own little house. I drove a pickup truck everywhere. I had a handlebar mustache and I wore a trucker hat. I just drove around blasting country music. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see these systems come out this fall. It's been a while since we've had a new, or since the last generation debuted. So
and competition.
We'll see how the two of them go against the Switch.
Let me know how they are, because I'm not gonna buy either one.
We got a PC gamer up in here.
I mean, I'll buy a PS5, but yeah, exclusives.
Corey will have PS5 before the end of the year. We're gonna report back to everyone before the end of the year.
At this point, I don't think so.
Does Xbox come out before the end of the year?
Yeah, it does. He'll have both. I expect him to have both.
I'm not gonna have both.
And you'll have one of those switches that the things don't come off the sides too.
And then one you can just play like portable.
Yeah.
We shall see. I beg to differ.
We shall see.
Yeah, maybe.
He's like, not only did I buy all those, but I also bought a Game Gear. I'm playing Echo the Dolphin on Game Gear.
Sorry, Corey. Let's go into our recommendations, our individual recommendations. We have Corey, you can go first.
Sure. So I continued my horror kick, and I've seen this movie before, but I haven't seen it in a while. But I decided to watch, and my pick is Sinister. Ethan Hawke. I think he's the only really notable actor of that film. But it's a fantastic horror movie, very different than a lot of horror movies that I've seen recently. It's about an author. He's like a mystery author that basically gets involved in bringing a demon back to life, more or less, and it's pretty scary, and it's just very atmospheric. And I remember Ethan Hawke being fantastic in it. I mean, the whole cast is great, and it centers around children. So if you are a little kind of like on the edge with children in horror movies, it's definitely a little bit of a tough watch at times, but definitely a good type of home invasion horror movie. And yeah, I mean, that's what I watched. I think I've only seen it like twice before this, this point. But you guys recommended it to me. I know Murph at least did. It's awesome. It's a great movie, great horror movie if you're into that.
I didn't recommend it. I've never even seen it.
You've definitely. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
All right. Well, someone in our circle definitely recommended it. Maybe, but it's a good horror movie.
It does not star just Ethan Hawke. It stars 2008 presidential candidate Fred Thompson.
Oh, sorry.
So
I don't even know who that is.
He was like a guy on Law and Order.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, he was. Now I know who you're talking about. He was the sheriff in the movie, which you wouldn't know because you haven't seen the movie apparently. So I think I know exactly who you're talking about. I'm gonna IMDb
he's on a
right
lot
now.
of Law and Order. He was on like 4 different Law and Orders.
He was in Die Hard 2.
Right now, we are all looking up Fred Thompson's career.
Yeah,
He's getting the biggest boost he has got in a long time.
He is the sheriff in the movie. He's awesome. He's fantastic.
Oh, he was in Baby's Day Out, too.
All right,
Oh, wow.
so for the three of you, which includes Murph, who I thought saw this film, I recommend watching it. It's a great horror movie.
I don't think I will, Corey.
It's a great movie.
Murph, after watching things like that, I don't understand.
Maybe he's not a fan of spooky movies.
Yeah, he doesn't like the spoops. No spoops for him.
No scary movies.
But yeah, that's my pick. I like that movie. So
cool. All right.
Yeah, Doug.
Doug, what do you got?
Yeah, so I don't know that this is a recommendation so far as it's the only movie I watched this past week, but it's Bad Boys for Life. Seeing Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, comedy duo teaming up again.
It's an awesome movie.
To do a Michael Bay type movie, but not directed by Michael Bay.
Oh.
Did you notice Michael Bay was in it?
No, I miss Michael Bay.
Ah.
He's a very generic looking, just like white dude.
Looks like he belongs in California usually.
He's pretty easy to miss.
He's at the wedding. Martin Lawrence's daughter's wedding. And he's like
Reggie?
And he gives a speech.
Is he trying to blow something up?
Yeah, he definitely wanted to blow something up.
So it's I thought it was, I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was expecting it to not be a Bad Boys movie. So kind of like, I think I was expecting it to like elevate itself a little bit.
I was expecting a Lethal Weapon movie out of that.
Were you expecting a demon summoning home invasion movie starring children?
Ethan Hawke.
I think I expected it to be tighter than a Bad Boy. It was just super generic.
Bad Boys 4?
What's that?
So you're not going to see Bad Boys 4, which they clearly set up at the end?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to get into spoilers, but yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying. I just say it sets up.
No, I agree. It does. I was going to try to respond to it with how it ended, but I don't want to spoil the movie.
Still playing it.
I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very intrigued by how state of the art Miami is. They're just like
maybe we should go. I mean, you're closer.
They're like 30 minutes, 40 minutes away, and it's like, oh wow, Miami's got this whole suite of drones and special.
Vanessa Hudgens.
They had it in Fast and the Furious 2 as well. Too Fast and Furious. They had
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, they had those grappling hooks that stop cars in their tracks because they short out all the electricity. That was in Miami as well, right?
It was.
Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
Doug, they've always been on another level, man.
Yeah, I guess Miami is just way more advanced than I've ever realized. But I mean, just like the action and stuff I found. I thought the CGI was poor in a lot of places, especially that the fire, the scene where there's a lot of fire. It was just very clear green screen. Not so great CGI.
Is it a Netflix movie?
No, I paid money for this.
I mean, I liked the villain a lot.
You didn't even like the first two.
My wife wanted to see it,
Okay.
and it was between that and Terminator's Salvation.
One word.
No, that was
Genesis. Genesis.
No,
All right, Doug. I have one
not
word.
Genesis, is it?
No, that also came out like 5 years ago.
Doug, I have
keep track of all the Terminator movies.
I have
The Terminator.
I have one word for you that could have solved all of your problems with Bad Boys. Plex. So
Or just
pay for it. I mean, yeah.
be inebriated, where you just like don't have to. I don't know. The story was, I thought, kind of garbage. I think
I liked the villain.
I know that's what I guess.
Explosions and
Or
screaming about shit.
A movie that he thinks is garbage, and you shouldn't watch.
I enjoyed the villain a lot. I thought he was good.
If you
It's
like
fun.
Bad
Doug's
Boys 1,
convinced me.
It's got a good Joey Pants performance.
Yep.
Martin Lawrence is the funniest he's been in like 20 years. It's worth watching.
Totally.
Peak. What was it? National Security.
He's not Blue Streak. He's not Blue Streak Martin Lawrence, but he's like close to it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not National Security.
He's better than national security.
While also poking fun of himself because he's clearly older.
Does, yeah.
It's good. It's enjoyable.
I would say if you liked Bad Boys 1 and 2, you're gonna like Bad Boys for Life. If you expected it to elevate itself beyond Bad Boys 1 and 2, yeah, that's not.
Were you searching for a true crime genre movie? Everything by the book?
I don't know.
I didn't think it was gonna try so hard. I don't know. I guess I thought with the removal of Michael Bay that maybe there was gonna be.
It's 2020.
It was gonna be less mindless, but
I mean, he had the best reviews of any of the 3 movies.
Really?
I don't really know why.
Because Michael Bay wasn't involved, so it automatically went up a few notches.
You can't deny that the chemistry between Martin Lawrence and Will Smith was. I mean, they haven't done a movie in such a long time. I mean, it was like they did not skip a beat. It was great. They were fantastic together. Like the chemistry was just always there throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the chemistry. It was the story and the CGI.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
CGI in Bad Boys.
You know what? You got one person. I'm gonna go watch it just based on Doug's recommendation. The fact that he didn't like it and he didn't like any of the other ones. There you go. Should be a movie for me.
All right, what do you got, JP?
I watched Jojo Rabbit, which was delightful. A little bit of satirical comedy. A whole bunch of twists and turns I didn't see coming. It's a good movie. I mean,
Taika.
Yeah, Taika. I mean, we've been watching the What We Do in the Shadows TV show. It's got a little bit of Taika in it. So hot right now.
He is so hot right now.
I feel
He's fucking painful.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I mean, I typically don't like movies that star children. But I thought
JP's never been a fan of child actors.
Never been a fan. But yeah, the 2 kids that were kind of at the heart of the story were really, really good. And I was rooting for him the whole time, and Taika Waititi as Adolf Hitler was a smash hit, which I never thought I'd say those words.
Yeah,
but it was really, really good, and it's kind of poignant because I feel like that's what little kids were meant to believe back in the day. Even though this little kid is he's out there. It was really good. The one problem I did have is I cannot stand when everyone's supposed to be German, but they're English. And that drove me nuts. And I don't know why. It's just, I just can't stand when everyone's supposed to be German, but they're talking, they're walking around speaking with English accents. I think I mentioned it 2 or 3 times during the movie and just said, can they not do German accents? Put me in there.
Struggle with it.
I mean,
but it was good. It was really, really funny. Really, really funny.
One shout out I have for that film is Scarlett Johansson. Like she
was great.
She killed it. Like she was absolutely fantastic. She was a standout for me at least.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, and
incredible.
I'm blanking on his name. He's like one of my favorite actors. I don't.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he was really good too.
Sam Rockwell.
His character's so ridiculous.
Sam Rockwell's gonna be great in everything. Like
I love Sam Rockwell in everything.
Him and Alfie Allen were funny as hell together. Like the fact, like the more it gets into it, and like the clearer it becomes that they're like
how very, very gay they were
or something together. Like it just becomes more explicit as it goes along.
They're designing that suit as he's walking through at the end.
But they're both hilarious in it, and Sam Rockwell is an incredible actor.
Well, even Richard Jewell, he was fantastic in that, which was recently came out.
Anything
6 months?
Guy does
here
is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's one of the greatest actors of this generation.
Yep. Absolutely agree.
All right. I'll close it out. My recommendation, we're going to go back. Judd Apatow. My recommendation is The King of Staten Island. Judd's new movie, $20 to rent, which isn't exactly
it's a little steep.
A nice number. But
do I get popcorn with it?
you have to bring your own.
Do I get an icy?
I think it's hoping you watch it with people, but when you're quarantined alone, you don't watch things with people.
I want pretzel bites.
Yes. But I would say it was worth the money. I'm happy to have given it to him.
Nice.
I think it's the most well-made movie he's made. It's not my favorite. Like, I would put 40-year-old version Knocked Up above it. Partially nostalgia for Knocked Up. I think I could end up saying, if I watched this movie a lot, that it was better than Knocked Up.
That's my number one movie, man.
Yeah. But I thought Pete was. I think he carried the movie. He's not the SNL guy you see. I think he portrayed somebody who's dealing with mental illness, probably some form of PTSD from the loss of his father at a young age. He does that very well. The semi-autobiographical feel of it, the fact that his father died in 9/11, was a firefighter, and his father in this movie was a firefighter who dies. You can tell he was so attached to the story, to the character. Bill Burr stole the show. I'm going to watch his stand-ups now. I always knew he was funny. And I've liked him in everything I've seen him in, but this was by far the most I've seen him in something. And he was just balls to the wall, hilarious. Him making fun of Pete Davidson, I think you can watch the movie just for that and find it to be hilarious. Marissa Tomei, great. It's a good balance of comedy and serious issues, situations. It's got heart. It's got laughs. I endorse it. I imagine if you don't want to pay $20, I imagine it will be available to rent probably for $10 in the next 2 months. But if you've got time to kill and $20 to kill, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. The one thing I like about, I haven't seen this movie, but the one thing I like, and it's probably just a story that's been beaten to death at this point, is they put Steve Buscemi in it, and it's I guess at the heart of a firefighter dying on 9/11, and then his son. And Steve Buscemi used to be a volunteer firefighter in New York City, and when 9/11 happened, he came to help out clean up afterwards. So I think that's neat that they put him in there. So it's sort of like,
it kind of gives some authenticity to those scenes, because there are a lot of scenes like at the firehouse, just showing that camaraderie, which I haven't seen in that way in films. Obviously, there have been firefighter films, Backdraft, Ladder 49, etc. But definitely does it. Wait, why does that sound familiar?
It's the Entourage movie.
Oh, that's why it sounds familiar. Vinny Chase. But yeah, I think all of you guys would enjoy it, and I really would like to hear your feedback on it when you eventually get to watching it, especially for someone like JP. I know you're not a Pete Davidson person. Doug, you definitely enjoy him to a degree as an SNL fan.
Right.
But we all clearly like Judd, so we don't necessarily like every film he's made, but when you guys get to it, we'll talk about it again.
For sure.
All right, we've exhausted way more time than we were expecting tonight.
I'm tired.
Just gonna give a shout out to Corey and Doug, both their birthdays. 50 minutes ago, they turned the big 33.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get out of here, take a shot, have a drink, real quick, go to sleep, and the old man.
Go to sleep.
We are 33 years old. But thanks for listening. And feedback, like, subscribe, all that nonsense. And we hope to hear from you. And we hope you'll listen next week. So, cheers. Have a good night.
Take care.